All right, we are live. Hey there,
Nice.
Graham. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Ryan.
Happy Friday to everybody out there.
Yes. Week's
So
end, baby.
we have a little show here. We did a rewind of 2019. It was so fun. We decided, hey, it should be a regular thing, and we'll rewind the week's end. Awesome.
Love it.
So, what do you want to talk about first this week, Graham?
Oh, there's so much to talk about, but I thought we could do a little retro tech, right? Now, normally when we talk retro tech, we actually talk about a retro piece of technology, right?
Right.
But this week, I want to talk about I want to talk about an individual. Now,
Yep.
as you know, and I know, the two of us are really big into Apollo and NASA history. In fact, I'll just move aside. There's my Saturn V right there that my kids built for me. And earlier this week, I got on a web conference with Gene Kranz, the man himself, for those of you that don't know, Gene Kranz was the second director of NASA, second flight director. He was made famous because he was portrayed by Ed Harris in Apollo 13. He's the guy that said failure is not an option. And I got to get on a phone call with him, was like chit-chatting with him. It was
Oh
so
man,
weird.
amazing.
It was amazing. It was
I'm not.
like,
I'm not jealous at all.
no, 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 nor should you be. I mean, I was only chit-chatting with like one of our childhood heroes. It's fine. It's no big deal.
Well, you know what it is. This is payback for me talking with Jack Schmidt.
Oh, oh yeah. When you talk to Harrison Schmidt, that's right. So that's right. I deliberately left you out of this. I forgot about that.
Cool. Well, can you give us any sort of what's some? Is there anything you can share that we know that you're developing some content that's going to be available in a couple weeks' time? But is there any kind of cool takeaway? Maybe I know you did. You sort of did a warm up session with him, and there was some cool discussion, right?
There was some cool discussion. You know, he talked a lot about leadership. Ryan and I both work for IBM. He talked about IBM's involvement in the space program, which was fascinating. We learned some new things. In fact, we had one of IBM's leading space historians on the call with us, and even he learned some new stuff, which was really cool. But you know, there were a couple of really cool moments. There was a moment where I don't know, we said something, we were confirming some detail, and he just used the word Roger, which was like a shutter cool moment. I was like, oh my God, he said it. So that was kind of cool. But, you know, he talked a lot about leadership, and he shared some, insights into some books that he's writing, and really just talked about the need to take risks, right? Which really isn't anything retro. I still think, I mean, nowadays with this pandemic and everything we're going through, to be a good leader, you got to take risks, you got to change things, you got to adapt to situations as they come up. And it was really cool to hear the man himself talk about it. And, you know, you and I are working on a project, a virtual event for IBM, and he'll be joining us in May, or it is May. He'll be joining us later this month, but it was just really cool to hear him talk.
Yep. Okay. I'm not gonna repeat the it's gonna be May meme, but yeah, it's May, and we have some really cool stuff coming up. So
Yeah,
I'm
April
excited
was a
about
hell
it.
of a year. I mean, really.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, if the decade of May is any indication, things are going to continue to evolve on the daily.
Definitely. Definitely.
Well, let's do something. Let's do our reading corner, our book corner. Let's talk about something that you and I are kind of, it's not an official book club, but it's something that I think is pretty cool. I've got the actual individual issues,
Yep.
and it's got some really cool art on the back,
Yep.
with some quotes.
Yeah.
I
This is
know
Batman Last
you've
Night on Earth. I just got this on Amazon.
yeah, and I've only read through half of it, but I couldn't help myself, and I looked at the ending, and wow.
So I'm not
Um,
going to jump ahead because I am
but I don't want to ruin
like,
it for anybody else either,
what
because
is happening here?
I
It's so
think
wild.
it's worthy of discussion, maybe with the wider audience here. Maybe we can do a follow up if anybody else has already read it or wants to pick it up. The hardcover that Graham has is available on Amazon for, you know, a
23
couple of
bucks, I think.
fives, $23, right? But the thing that I found that was interesting about it is it's set in the future. Just to give a little taste of it, it's got our favorite character, Batman, but it's also got a lot of the Justice League, all of the DC folks.
Look at that. What?
Joker's head
One little preview. That's all I'm going to show.
is somehow in a suspended animation in
Yeah.
a orb that he's carrying around.
So
Um,
weird.
Diana makes an appearance with a mohawk, no less.
Yeah.
But it's really trippy because you can't tell in the first issue if there's like time travel involved or there's a lot of
Very weird.
flashbacks. But I'm into the second book, and the thing that I've noticed is that the whole conceit is that the people of Earth have turned against the superheroes. And so this is not really new in terms of a basic plot, but it's an interesting look in that it's sort of questioning the role of heroes and leaders. And I think that's very topical for what we're seeing in social media today with our
I think so
pandemic,
too.
right?
Yeah.
And so it has a similar vibe, and yet this book came out, a year prior to what's happening in our world right now.
Yeah, I mean the whole concept of like let's let the whole world make a choice and the unexpected consequences of that is what really drew me to the plot. And the world's loudest truck drove by just now, by the way. And it's interesting to read something where you're struggling to figure out what's going on. So I'm not going to jump ahead. I don't want to see the end. I am transfixed by this, so I highly recommend it. Whether you're a Batman fan or a DC fan or not, this is just a really fascinating comic. And as you would expect from the Snyder and Capullo, the art is just outstanding.
Oh yeah.
So I give it, let's see, I give it 3 toys up. I give it 3 toys up.
Well, you can't see this. I'm going to have to pivot. I've got a whole collection of every Batman from every era, I think, including Dark Knight up here
Wow.
with Superman.
You're the coolest.
And a few bobbleheads, but I will give it 8 batarangs out of 10 right now, and I think
nice.
It may have the potential to improve once we're done with the series. So yeah, everybody, if you want to chime in with your take on this, or if you want to hear more, I think we'll deep dive because there's some real interesting tidbits that I think are worthy of discussion on a future show. So let's take a toy break real quick. Let's take an intermission. What do you got to show off?
Let's see. What do I want to share for I know what I'll share is every time I buy an action figure or a toy or anything, and I'm waiting for some to come in, and I love talking about them. I love the whole unboxing process, right? But actually not almost always. I mean, you can see a collection of them back here. They're all over here. They're everywhere in my office, right? But I always unbox them. I always take them out of their packaging.
Oh, yeah.
I always play with them, pose them, whatever. I mean, I've got them all over the place. But there's one that I never did, and I just think she's so cool that I just never wanted to take her out of the box. And it's Saber Athena, of all things, from
Wow.
Pacific Rim Uprising. I just thought that she was the coolest of the Jaegers,
Yep.
even with Gypsy Danger and everything, which was also cool. But I just thought she was awesome. And I like the way there's like a starburst behind her. And I just thought that it was so cool that I decided to leave her in her packaging. So that's my offer for the toy break is Saber Athena. She's just too cool, man.
That's awesome. Okay, well,
What about you? What do you got? What do you got?
I think we're similar minds. I do not like to keep things in a box. I do have, however, a few things that are still in the packaging just because they were like gifts. Some of them are even duplicates, right? Unintentionally. I'm not the guy that buys 3 of everything, but my neighbor across the street, who I've been neighbors with for 2005. What's that? 15.
My understanding is there would be no math involved, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, okay. It was a lot of years, right?
Yes.
He's moving across the country. He's cleaning out his garage, and he brought me this, which I want to show. I don't know how he found it, but it's a Funko Pop #1.
Holy moly!
Darth Vader. So I'm not sure if that's actually worth anything. I haven't looked it up yet, and I'm not a Funko Pop collector, by the way. I like more realist. I like the McFarlane type of realism in my collection, but that is pretty badass.
That is cool. I've got a K2SO Funko. I got a couple of them, but I'm the same way. I'm not a collector of them either, but that is really cool. Although I see something else behind you that I want to call to attention that I believe I was with you on the day you got it. Is that your Jabba's barge R2-D2?
Oh yeah.
I
So
was I was
if
with you at Disney, buddy.
the thing, yeah, that was a good day. And so the thing to note about R2D2 is I don't know how many I have. Maybe we'll dive into that in the future.
I
But
can't even
yeah,
imagine how many you
I
have.
had
Your
never
R2
seen this.
collection
This
is
is there's like
impressive.
everybody knows about the Black series, right? This is
Yeah.
called Elite series,
Oh,
and this thing is heavy. It's legit. And that
it is heavy.
it is another one that I just left in the packaging because frankly, it's got all these cool little glasses in it with etching on them and all that.
But
But
is that the one? Is that the one we were
that
at?
is the one, yeah,
We were in Disney.
definitely. That's the one.
Yep.
But the thing about me is I collect R2D2s. I don't know how many. I have a bunch. So
Okay.
I actually just built a droid that, if you're familiar, there's a robot electronics builder kit called Little Bits, and they built an R2D2 that does all kinds of things. And it's like a STEM education, kind of experiment kind of thing.
Very cool.
We'll show that off in the future.
All right, let's talk for 2 seconds in using nothing but R2 beeps.
I'm learning the language because there's an app
Yes.
that goes with it.
Yes, that was me and R2 telling you, let's move on to the next segment.
Let's do it. All right, let's talk about. I don't know if it's art, but I like it.
Ooh, yes. Okay, that sounds good.
What do you got for me?
So for this week, for I don't know if it's art or I'm not too sure, but I like to think it is. I want to share something that you and I have been working on. Let me see if I can figure out how to share my screen. All right, let's see if it works. I'm going to share Firefox. Let's give this a shot. Tell me if this works. Screen 2, actually. Yes, it's going to work.
Technology for the win.
Here we go. Big test. I think it's working. I don't know. Do I have to tell it to do something? Do I have to stop my cam?
I'm doing it.
Oh,
Add to stream. There you go, buddy.
by the way, I like your picture of Gene Kranz, who's Gene Kranz in the background there, wearing
Yeah.
one of his vests made by his wife. That's, I believe, that is from Apollo 17. Anyway,
Yep.
So what I'm sharing here are. Ryan and I had this idea a couple of weeks ago of taking old war propaganda posters and redesigning them for work from home. And let me explain what I mean by that. So we're all stuck in this pandemic, right? And one of the things that I mean, maybe it's a bit of an exaggeration. It's not the right comparison, but one of the ways I looked at it was, this is sort of our wartime, right? This is something that we all have to go through. It's really difficult. We're all sheltering in place, and the big wave of coronavirus attack is always coming at us, and we gotta get through it. But we're all working from home. So one of the ideas we had was to take these work from home posters and turn them into something that works for working from home. So this is a good example. People at home, come into the web conference, make sure you have a headset on, and don't worry about being camera ready. Here's another one I like. Here's the original. Here's the remake. I want you to go on mute when you're not speaking.
Classic.
Here you go, Ryan. Here's one. This one's a good one. Someone talked, right? Well, it's like,
but they're still on mute. Yes.
But they're still on mute, and there's just a whole bunch of them. We did one for Slack. This one's good. You give us the fire, we'll give him hell. Well, we changed it to, you give us the time, we'll give you a meeting, because there's always a meeting.
There's a meeting for everything.
But we did them for, Rosie the Riveter. We did one for coffee. We did one talking about, we're united, but like, you got to respect the time zones when you're booking a meeting. And they just go on and on and on. So we'll make sure that I'll put the link to this in the chat, in the live comments, so that if anybody wants to see that, they can go ahead and see that.
Everybody's loving these things too. I think, you know what, we have to inject some levity into this situation where, everybody's commented a bit that, there's lots of jobs where work at home was already sort of the normal mode of operation, but this feels different, right? This is different because the scenario involves both, caring for children that can't go to daycare, or educating your teenager from home, or in my case, I have a college student who had to come home.
I got 2 teenage boys here. I hear you.
Finish his semester, right?
Yep.
And so there's a lot of situations that are changing our workday, and then it is a new mode of working with our colleagues, no matter what company you work for. So fun stuff. We have just just let everybody know we just released wave 2 of these posters, and we're working on wave 3, and it's a lot of fun. So
yep. You can find them. Let's see, it's this hand over here. Actually, you can. Let's see if I can point at this correctly. You can find them on my Twitter or on here. I'll reach way over to yours, Ryan. Right, there it is. There it is. Yeah. Let's see if we can make this work. There we go. Or on Ryan's Twitter at the Rab. So Graeme knows in the Rab.
That was not rehearsed at all, ladies and gentlemen.
All okay, right. Toy break.
Wait a second. I want to get. We would be remiss if we did not get a shout out to the excellent Pete Nelson from Austin, Texas.
Yes, Peter Nelson. So Ryan and I did the concept and copy. Peter Nelson did the design, and the thing that's incredible is he did these so fast. We did one. We had an individual, an executive at IBM, request one about quarantine gardens because she's building a beautiful quarantine or victory garden. Excuse me. Right. So we took one for victory gardens and did it about quarantine gardens. So we even take requests.
Heck yeah! Send your requests if you've got good ones, or if you find some obscure posters. I think we've got one in the queue that we're working on with Dory Miller, which is going to be awesome.
Yes, yes.
All righty. Well, what do we have left?
We got another toy break.
We got another toy break. All right, let's do it.
You might notice I've got to get used to how this pointing works, but there it is. See that rocket right there? That's from Tintin. I am mildly obsessed with the Destination Moon and Explorers on the Moon series from Tintin. I have I've got a what do you call it, a blueprint here. They're all over the walls. But and of course I've got my moon rocket and Tintin dressed up in his spacesuit with his helmet off. And right. I don't know. I grew up reading Tintin. I just loved him.
I got to go across the room and grab something. Hang on one sec.
Yeah. So if you're for those of you who don't know it, you can get this book as well on Amazon. Great to read with your kids or just to read by yourself. There's some really cool stuff in here, including a scene where, speaking of retro tech, Tintin is actually using an old IBM computer at one point, which is pretty cool to see. So Destination Moon and Explorers on the Moon is the 2-part series. What do you got?
Everybody. This is what they call a deep cut in the music, in the concert scene. But I have a bust of the one Neo, and then a multi-disc set of the original DVDs for every Matrix movie in this nice little
wow, that is really
cool. The Ultimate Matrix Collection, 3 monumental movies.
Now I'm impressed because it looks like you've never opened that.
Over 35 hours of spellbinding material. Now it's really cool because you can open it. It literally has little doors that swing open.
So that is super cool.
And then the discs slide out.
Oh my God, that's cool.
It's very.
Hey, Speaking of Neo, every once in a while, and I'll share my screen again for a second here. Let's see I don't know if the sharing is actually working or not.
Yeah,
but if it is,
hang on, I got it. I have to, as the producer guy, throw it up on the screen. So what is that? That looks like
no, that's not it. I'm still learning how to do this. Give me a second here. Let's see let me try this again because I've got a funny picture that I know you're definitely going to appreciate. Here we go. So this is me. Late on a Saturday night when I was sitting around one night. So we have movie night here with our kids, and I sometimes, if it's a really special movie like Matrix, for example, I dressed up like Neo, but at one point I had to walk the dogs. I didn't even have my shoes on. So that's a good example of me in my neighborhood walking my dogs dressed as Neo, no shoes.
Yeah, but there's a lot of cults in your neck of the woods, I think, right?
There are. We're very culty up here in the Massachusetts Bay colonies.
All right, so we'll leave it at this. We know, everybody, if you haven't heard, the Wachowskis are. Did I say that right? They're in the midst of producing Matrix 4 as we speak. The other thing is that everybody's gaga about the fact that everybody's locked in. They're looking for new content on Netflix, but everything that's old is new again. And the original Matrix film is now on Netflix for the first time.
So good.
And
totally holds up. It's still fantastic.
I mean, yeah.
All right. So our next subject is, should we go on to Nerd Alert?
Nerd Alert. Let's do it.
All right. So for this week's Nerd Alert, besides Ryan's extraordinarily impressive collection of R2-D2s, which I humbly bow to you, sir. You are more worthy than of your collection, more than worthy. For this week's Nerd Alert, what I wanted to share was a little something that I may have placed an order for. So, Ryan, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share.
I think I'm gonna call it here. Go ahead.
I think I'm going to go ahead. So you authorize my screen share. This time I think I'm actually doing it correctly. It's going to work. And
Oh my
boom!
God.
Yes.
Oh
So
my God.
I'm just waiting for this sweet baby to arrive.
Now
Now,
wait a
here's why
second.
this.
Wait a second.
Let me hear it.
I thought that you were gonna show me a different cabinet, and you might be mad that you ordered this because 2 nights ago I saw that OneUp is offering a seated model.
What? They
Yes.
did the flight cabinet?
I don't. It's not full blown, but it definitely has a chair involved.
But you know what? So I live in a raised ranch. This
Who
is
can
not
do that?
exactly a
Who can do
mansion.
that
This is
though?
the right size.
Who has the space for that? You'd have to get rid of some action figures.
I'm not doing that.
And you're not
So
doing that.
this one fits. So this is why this one is significant to me is I grew up, going to arcades. I mean, that's what we did when we were younger, Ryan. And I used to go to the Dream Machine arcade at the Hadley Mall in Massachusetts, and I just relentlessly played this game. I remember every bit of it. It was a sit down cabinet, and I never saw one again until I went and visited the let me see if I can get another photo of it, give you a sense of how big it is. Until I went and visited the American Classics Arcade Museum in Laconia, New Hampshire. Now, for those of you who are up here in New England, if you get a chance, you can Google American Classics Arcade Museum. They've got a beautiful site. If you get a chance, take the ride. However many hours it takes you to get there, go. They have every machine you can ever imagine, and they have the sit-down Star Wars arcade cabinet, just like I used to use. And it's funny because when I saw it, I started crying. It was like such an emotional reunion, total nerd alert. But I got to tell you, buddy,
They're really hard to find out in the wild now.
They're out in the wild. But I found one, and this museum is amazing, and I'm excited to get this from Arcade OneUp. So it's just really exciting.
Well, I think they're just really hard to come by, and the fact that you can have kind of a version of it for your house is pretty amazing. And why not before now is my question. But
Yeah.
That's just me. So that's very cool. Why don't we talk about a dumpster fire that you found on Twitter?
Sure. So I'll share the screen yet again, and watch this. Watch how fast and awesome I am at it this time as we get better. You ready? Here we go. Bing, bam, boom. And I blew it.
The anticipation. I'm like, I'm ready. I'm going to click it.
Nope. Now I have blocked access. So that
Nice.
says click the screen icon in your address bar.
Hang on. Maybe I can do it.
Permissions. Oh, I fixed it. All right. That was hilarious. Okay. Ready? Bing, bang, boom. So look at this adorable little thing.
Oh my
God. Let me tell you about this. So if you get a chance, go to 100soft .shop. Now that's the number 100 soft.shop. Or you can find Truck Torrents on Twitter. I have been trying for over a year to get my hands on one of these dumpster fire vinyl figures. My original thought was to bring it to work, and whenever you have like a dumpster fire at work and you're in some meeting, my idea was to just place it on the table or on the person's desk and just walk away. So instead of getting all carried away and all emotional, which I typically do, or becoming all crazy, which it happens with a Graeme, I would just put this down and walk away. That would be it. It's a dumpster fire. I'm done. Let me know when the fire's out. But as we devolved into 2019 and then got hit with 2020, right, which has just been one dumpster fire after the other, now I just want one because I want to quarantine with my dumpster fire. I want to go on car rides with my dumpster fire. I want to take this thing around and just have it on my desk.
Well, you're just gonna in every meeting, you're just gonna have it floating along the bottom like a marquee,
or just have it floating along. But this thing has been impossible to get. I am desperately trying to get one. So,
hey, maybe the good folks over at 100 Shop are listening. Who knows?
I don't know if they are. Hook me up. I'll tell everybody about it, or at least just put me in the queue to get one. I mean, just help me out. I gotta have it. I gotta have it.
All right. Well, I've got one for you too.
Okay,
This is what I thought you were going to bring up. Well, first of all, when you said dumpster fire on Twitter, I said you're gonna have to be more specific, and it's it's 12:55 on a Friday, so who knows what's gonna happen, right? But I'm gonna share my screen really quick.
All right, let's see how fast you do it,
Let's do
Mr.
this.
Smarty Pants.
Share screen. Don't show these jokes again.
Bum,
All right, I'm gonna show an application window. How about a Chrome tab? Ooh, that looks interesting. A Chrome tab.
Oh,
how does that work?
Oh, I see white. Are you sharing a picture of a blizzard?
Here we go.
Oh,
okay.
There he is.
Now here's my thing. I have wanted to get one of these since they started talking about it. Look deeply into his eyes. Okay, so they're making several versions of this. Everybody was angry that none of these were going to be ready, like when the show was over and all this stuff. And they're making a fully animatronic one it's not actually coming out till December. But the first wave of just the what they're calling the plush toy, which is really a vinyl toy, so I'm confused. It is coming out in, I think, 2 weeks. But some of the quote unquote Disney insiders, I think, some of the influencers have already gotten one early. And so when you go on Instagram stories, you go on, some of the social platforms, you're going to see people that are literally geeking out. And so am I.
I'm telling you, man. I mean,
ragingly jealous. And
yes, of course.
I did put in my pre-order, but I don't think I'm going to get it till like March 18th. So we're going to have to wait a while.
Shut up and take my Galactic Standard credits. Wait, March 18th? You mean next year? You mean May 18th?
Sorry, I mean May 18th. Right.
You don't even know what month it is anymore, do you, Ryan? You have no idea what's happening.
In order to get your hands on the child, time travel is involved, is what I'm
yes, right. Yes, of course. That is science. That makes sense. That's science. I love that. I got to have it.
All righty. Well, let's do this. I think this has been the heck of a show. We're right at the 30-minute mark. We wanted to keep these short and sweet. I think we're planning some cool stuff for upcoming shows. But let us know. Let us know on the tweets. Let us know on YouTube. Let us know wherever you see this crazy stuff. And
we'll cover your products. We'll cover your facts. We'll cover your life. We'll talk about what happened during the week. Whatever you want. Hit us with topics.
We promise every show won't be about toys. We'll see. There'll always be some of that, but we have some heavy topics. We just didn't want to do that for the first episode. Come on.
True.
All right. So thanks for coming on today, Graeme. Great to talk to you as always. Thanks everyone for listening out on the interwebs. Once again, my name is Ryan Boyles. This is Mr. Graeme Noseworthy, and we'll see you soon.
You guys are the best. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Ryan.
Peace.